you were upstairs on your phone and you were chatting with a friend of yours. And you laughed. And you laughed so loudly. And I was there watching news, and I think I was just existing in front of the TV.
Okay.
And in that moment, I was like, wait. It has been long since I heard you laugh that loud. And I'm like,
It's making me laugh.
wait. Who on earth is making this girl laugh?
At this time.
Wait. It's like 10 o'clock. Who is this? But I knew who it was. It was one of your girlfriends. And I sat down and I was like, okay, there's something wrong here.
So that was your light bulb moment?
I would say it was my wake-up call. Hi there, I'm Timothy.
And I'm Rich Gold, and
Welcome to episode 9 of Relationship Notes and Stories. Episode 9 already.
Yep.
How are you doing, honey?
I'm looking forward to this conversation. I wonder where it's going to go. But I'm okay. How are you?
I'm not looking forward to this conversation. And I can't.
Why? I mean, like
going.
us spending time together. That's what I mean. And just sharing. And as we share, we hopefully impact people that are listening to us. So tell us
Yeah.
in the comment section.
Right. So the topic we're going to talk about is, it's an interesting one. Can you give a bit of context to it so that it kind of...
I wonder what you're going to say. Is this
So there's this...
context in relation to us, or you just throwing?
I'm just throwing it out there in general.
Oh, okay.
Like when people get married, there are perceptions that exist. Like, oh, it's love all the time. It's sex all the time.
Butterfly.
It's butterflies all the time. It's all of that. You're going to spend time with your person all the time. But is it possible to be married and alone? And you're not experiencing all those things, but it's like your housemates.
So you're married but you're single, but there's someone in the house.
True. Yeah.
Is that a question, or you were building up on that?
I was just saying, yeah.
So tell us.
It's going to be an uncomfortable topic. So I think it's important for us to, as we have this...
Why is it uncomfortable? Why is it uncomfortable?
No, because we're going to talk about ourselves.
Yes.
That's the discomfort. I think one of the things that's very important is for us to have honest and vulnerable conversations and share them. But sometimes when you're talking about your experience, it's also a bit not so nice.
Why? Because you're thinking back and you're like, why did I do that?
You look back and you're like,
Who was that?
I was so stupid, eh?
So is that what you're thinking now as you reflect before you share? I mean, what you're going to share?
Yeah, in a bit.
Yeah.
A bit to do that, yeah.
Okay. So?
Okay, I have a bit of an itch in my throat. You go first.
Ask the question whether you could be married yet alone, or the issue of housemates, and I think it's very possible. And one of the reasons I think it's possible is because we have over time talked about considering your partner's interests above yours, and considering their interests, really, which then takes out the element of selfishness from you or from me, or self-centeredness, and which is innately who we are as humans. I'll look out for myself. I'll look out for what I want best, or what's in it for me, and not you. So when you get married and you stay like that, it's possible to do everything that you're doing, but thinking about yourself. And sometimes when you do that, you end up making decisions and, taking a direction that does not include or does not take you to oneness, but actually just starts to isolate you, because as I am doing my own thing, then you are doing your own thing. Then we come back to the same house. We are in the same house. Yes, we'll have some conversation, but we're completely on different journeys and we're isolated from each other.
So, to add to that, it's not like you intentionally seek to be selfish. It's just in wanting to fulfill your needs or to be happy or to do something that you found joy in doing alone. You now find it difficult to share that moment or to share that time.
But
with
then,
someone else.
okay, so then shouldn't the actual element be being very intentional about, if I do this, what impact does that have on Osan? Or I want to do this, but wait, let me ask you, what do you want to do? Or do you actually...
There's that, but then there's also the place where now you disagree. Like, let's say you want to sleep. I want to watch a movie. If I watch a movie while you sleep, the world won't end. You might say, let's watch this particular movie. And I'm like, okay, I won't watch that movie. Let me watch something else altogether while you're sleeping.
But now if I say, I would like us to go to bed together, you know, pray, and then go to bed, because then there's a form of bonding that happens when you kind of close out the day with your partner or your spouse, and you know, get to the unwinding of, you continue to have conversations and, you know, get to sleep together, which could lead to other things. But now if you say you can still watch another movie and you still save the movie that we would have watched together for later, that still means you lose out on one thing, but then you still gain your thing.
Yes, and okay, it's like, how do I put it? I'm not justifying it. I'm just stating a point, and I'm trying to see how to state it. It's like I'm allowing you to do what you want. You want to sleep. Like, yes, you want to sleep with me. Okay, so this is now becoming very funny.
You want to wind down the day.
You want to wind down the day and rest for you.
Yeah, but then
I want to watch something just because I have had a very stressful day.
Yeah.
And I want to cool off my mind. So I am on the page of, let me just unwind. And the sad reality is you're married at that point. And your desires as an individual haven't died. My cravings for what I want have not vanished because I said I do. They still do exist, and sometimes they exist even more than when I was alone. Because when I was alone, I could do them every time. But now that I am with you, I can't do them every time because I have to be considerate of what you want. But then there are times where I do not have that space. And then when I get the opportunity, or when the time comes and it presents itself, and like there's the opportunity cost. Do I spend time with you when I know I'm going to wake up with you? I know I'll see you tomorrow. I know I'll see you tomorrow evening. I know I'll wake up with you again the next day and all those things.
But you see, you can do all those things but still do them.
It's possible to do all those things apart, but I'm saying in like that moment of weighing, do I go to sleep or do I go to rest with you at the same time, or do I watch a movie that will make me happy and uplift my mood? I'm not saying it's a bad place to want those things. I'm saying it's the start of a dangerous place if it's not done with wisdom.
And if it's consistent, because it's one thing having a bad day or a long day, randomly that has happened, and you communicate it with your spouse, to share that by the time you're telling me I need to cool off, I've actually seen it. The driveway back, you shared about your day and it was difficult. There were several meetings you were attending to. It was a different kind of day, and already I can tell that you need some space, you need to cool off, or how can I support you to do that? So by the time we get home and you tell me you actually want to watch a movie, I would enable that. I would support you, because then maybe I would say, okay, fine, let's have dinner. Maybe we can start the movie, you can finish it, I'll go and end my day and you catch up with me. But now when that starts to become consistent, maybe say today it's a movie, the next day it's music, the other day it's catching up with some work, then the other day it's, you understand what I mean? Like, I'm just building up on what you're saying, that it can then become a downward spiral, and before you know it, you're so used to doing you, and you're used to doing you outside of your partner, outside of your spouse, that then it becomes the norm, but you see you're killing the journey to oneness.
I get it. I get where you're coming from. And okay, I feel like we now need to give like...
Yeah, so I was going to say, so yeah, how was it?
But before we get to that, I also just need to emphasize that even though, yes, there's a place where you can communicate and say, I've had a long day and I want to do this. But then you also want us to spend time together, and I just want time alone. I don't know if you get.
Yes, and I allow that for every relationship. You need to give each other space.
Yes.
Like, there's time for
But there
go
are times
with your
where,
guys. Yeah.
There are times where I want it now, but also
And where you want it.
You want something now.
So then what
We're
happens?
on different pages.
Yeah.
And it sounds very light, but so
Yeah, it happens a lot, and I agree with you. But in those scenarios, I don't know if you would agree with me that sometimes I let you have your way more than I have mine. Well, maybe because I'm looking at it from my perspective. But
yeah,
I think it's a thing of, you extend grace one time, the other time someone will extend grace to you. But you have to be conscious, because if you want your thing now and I want my thing now, and this time you give in to me, then next time I'll be very consciously aware of, oh no, you go do what you want. And there are times where we've got into conversations where you're like, no, you do this. And I'm like, no, you do that. No, and we're all looking out for each other.
Yeah, but then now let's roll back. We are 6 going on 7 years. Back all the way back to like 1 year. We were not at this level of understanding that, okay, you go and do this, you have your time, like me, like recently saying, no, you stay here, I'm gone, and I give you your space. Like that type of situation. That has come with a sense of over time and maturity. But let's just wind the clock back to that time for us, where we were married but alone, for lack of a better word. So,
would it, just before you share, would it also come from what we've always said about blueprints, maybe?
Yes, there's an element of blueprints.
Okay, so yeah.
There's an element of experiences. There's an element of blueprints from where you have come from. There's an element of experiences. There's the element of the individual wants and needs. There's the element of unresolved conflict. There's the element of communication. So it's not that a person chooses to be alone. It's just that there are so many things that are going on. There's even the element of comparison that comes in. So when you compound all of that...
Okay, so give us an example.
All right. You're the one who is good at remembering details. The problem when you tell stories, I find it hard as a husband to say certain things because I cannot say them. I feel like I find it hard to say certain things. I don't know if that makes sense.
Why?
Because my role as a husband is to protect you. So if I feel like I want to say something and it might hurt you, I don't know if I would want to say it here. But
then I thought that was the essence of conversations. But I mean, in terms of you wanted to relate this particular conversation to the season, and I guess also give perspective, but also insight to how then you were able to realize, or we were able to realize that, and work together to get out of that situation, but then also to continually be alert to not allowing it to come in, because it can come in, and different seasons are like marriage is filled with different seasons, really. Not that it's going to be rosy all the time, but like the moment you are alert to certain things, they won't go down the drain so far. They won't reach levels that, before they are curbed. Yeah.
All right. So we had gotten married, I think it was about 6 or 7 months in. Is that correct?
I don't know. I don't know what you're going to
So 6 or 7 months in, married. First month, very
honeymooners, really.
honeymooners. Oh, happy 1 week, happy 1 week. Oh, happy 1 month, 1 month. Oh, 2. Oh. But then there's
Celebrate every milestone, but yeah, go on.
yeah, we celebrate milestones, but we no longer celebrate months like we used to.
Well, I do.
You do. I don't.
But I tell you.
But you tell me. So we were at that place where you have gotten married. The joys of being in each other's space have come. I'm not saying and gone. They have come. You've experienced them. You are also dealing with a new person in your space, and you're trying to adjust to that. Compounded with the fact that
Life
is happening to you as an individual, but also to you as a couple. You have the things that you used to do before alone that you miss, just by nature of the fact that, yes, I have changed I'm in a new season, but I am still the same person and I have just entered the season. So it's like a person on drug addiction in remission.
Go on. So here you are.
So here I am, and I'm going to use different scenarios, but I know when you share the story, it will become, it will carry more weight for our female listeners or viewers. So I go to a place and I think I entered default mode settings. Because yes, I would come home, you would prepare a spectacular meal, it would be nice and all, but then I'll reach a point and I'm like, okay, one, I can cook. Yes, we can keep talking in the kitchen, but maybe I just want like a few minutes to myself. And then I sit in front of the TV and I'm like, oh, what's on news? And I start watching news. Put my feet up, put in the news and say, oh, I'm waiting for news. And the funniest thing is, I started I don't like watching news that much. But I started watching news simply because I had seen my dad watch news. Like he would come back from work, natural order of the day, after he gets home, greets everyone, sits down in front of the TV,
Relax,
feet up with socks on, and put on the news. If it's not like the local news channels, switches to the international news channels. Watches, understands, falls asleep with the remote, wakes up. I'm awake.
I'm still watching.
Meanwhile, my wife is in the same house and the same space, and she's in the kitchen, or she is around.
Kitchen, because we both have gotten back.
Kitchen. Food is ready. Come eat. Let me eat from here as I watch. Eat. And you're with me, but you're not with me. We are together, but not together. I'm physically available, but not
present,
mentally or emotionally present. So I would focus on the news, and you were going through something, and I was oblivious to how you're feeling in that moment.
Yes.
And even because I had just had a blueprint of default settings, for lack of a better word, I am starting to I don't know what I would call it, like glide or slide into this mode of, I have seen most of the male figures I have seen have done this when they come back from work. So as a male figure who is now at this stage, this is what I should be doing. And it's not like a conscious decision. It's just like, not even a reflex. It's just, this is what I have seen, so let me mirror it. It's like when there's an accident.
But you don't plan. But
Hi, we noticed that this conversation couldn't be completed in one episode, so we're going to have to break it into two. So catch us next time on
On part 2 of this
part two
conversation.
of this conversation. But it will be another episode altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.